Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined today by the Galactic Federation Stitch Hunter, JJ.
I mean, I don't want him dead. I just want to see a little less of him in the parks.
I don't think anyone wanted him dead. They just wanted to catch him.
Well, but what does the Empire do when they catch things?
I think they put him in jail or something.
No, they were gonna cut him open
experiment
and
on him.
Experiment on him.
I think the whole problem was that he was an experiment to begin with, and they didn't want that experiment out there. They wanted to banish him to Earth.
That's even worse.
Just because he's a little rascal.
He's a little rascal. Well,
I don't like involving the Imperial Republic in this. They've got a bad enough rap as it is.
And joining us today, the Enchanted Rose remodeling project manager, Sean.
Oh, I just press the button and demolish it. That's how we remodel the Enchanted Rose.
You wouldn't turn it to anything else?
Well, I'd build something completely different, but it wouldn't be the Enchanted Rose.
Okay, fair enough. And today, what will be our 50th episode, we are going to celebrate by doing Disney a solid and creating their response to Universal's Epic Universe. Okay, so before we dive in, we just want to say this is our 50th episode of ReedyGeeks. And what started out as 3 Disney fans rambling about snacks and queues with only their families listening
has still been 3 Disney nerds rambling with only their families listening.
You took my joke! That's literally what I have written here.
Oh, I can't let you take all the credit.
That's not entirely true, though.
No, slightly more than just our families listening, especially because I know my family stopped listening.
They did their 2-month required listening.
Yes.
Mine only listens when my wife is on. Is that normal?
She subscribes and then unsubscribes on the next episode. Well, thank you to everyone who has listened, has shared, and has geeked out with us along the way, and we hope we'll be here for at least another 50 episodes.
Is that when our contract runs out?
That's when we have to get renewed.
You guys have a contract?
You guys are getting paid?
Okay, so let's get into this. The idea of this episode, our 50th episode, has to do with Universal and their new park, Epic Universe.
Best name for a theme park of all time, right?
Universal Epic Universe.
That's the official name.
How has no one jumped on their backs because of that?
Because you can't kick the little guy when he's down.
I was gonna say it's like Universal tries, and they do really well. They do a lot of things really well, but they're never gonna be as popular or as good as Disney. If Disney made some of the very small trips in the road that Universal makes, they would blow them up and drag them through the streets. But like Universal Epic Universe is such a clunky name. But it's Universal, so they get to get away with it.
Disney's Epic Disney World?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right. If Disney did something like that, they'd have to close the park and completely redo it. You'd never hear the end of it.
Yeah.
I mean, people made fun of Disney Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
They make fun of California Adventure. They're like, these are terrible names. But they're not great names. But
Disney's California Adventure is not a bad name. That's okay.
No, it actually, and it makes sense to what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Epic Universe does kind of make sense for what it is, but it's just silly that their name is Universal. So you then say Universal's Epic Universe. It's just too many.
It's like it's trying to be multiverse, right? Like multi-universe type of thing. And then Epic, I'm disappointed they chose the word Epic because I feel like that's going to date this park. You know, it's such a trendy name. But
it's such a 2015 name.
Yes. When this idea was created,
right? When they bought the land, people were saying the word epic.
Yes, we were saying off camera, like if they had named it like Cool Beans Park back in the 90s,
they couldn't call it the Dope Universe.
The Dope Universe. Well, Epic Universe has signaled a bold and new era of immersion, multi-land storytelling, one where land operates like a self-contained portal into a completely different world. It was a major swing, not just in scale, but in ambition. And while Disney has long mastered this kind of storytelling across its parks, the idea of a wholly new gate built from the ground up with modern design, layered IP, and a cinematic layout really hasn't happened in Disney World since Animal Kingdom opened in 1998. So on today's episode, we're playing Imagineer. If Disney were to answer Epic Universe with a fifth gate of its own, one filled with original ideas, deep cuts, careful, curated franchises, what might it look like?
I mean, these are my favorite episodes, so I'm glad we're doing this for our 50th.
Yeah.
And Imagineering, or
Armchair Imagineering is like, that's my favorite thing. If you ever want to have way too long of a conversation with me, talk to me about something with, well, what would you want to see in the park?
Right.
What do you want to happen at Animation Courtyard? I'll talk for like an hour uninterrupted.
It would involve bulldozers and construction, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we should start by kind of just outlining Epic Universe in general.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So Epic Universe is operates like there's a central hub, but it is in itself a themed land. And then there are these portals that transport you out of Celestial Park, their hub, and into these alternate universes. So there is one that celebrates Super Nintendo, one that celebrates the classic Universal Studios monster movies called Dark Universe.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that is a Harry Potter land, but it is France from the Fantastic Beasts era, as opposed to during the traditional first 7 books of Harry Potter.
It's specifically the Ministry of Magic, but it's more than that.
Yeah, so that's the ride is the Ministry of Magic, but the whole land itself is themed to 1920s Paris, which is
Fantastic Beasts
and Where to Find Them era.
Yeah. I think they planned for it to be Fantastic Beasts, and then the poor showing at box offices made them pivot to a Ministry of Magic ride.
Gotta put Radcliffe and Watson back in the parks.
Yeah.
And Ron.
Yeah. Whatever his name is.
Rupert Grint.
Justice for Rupert Grint.
And then the last one is How to Train Your Dragonland, the Isle of Berk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is such an interesting complete dedication to a franchise I just didn't know was that popular.
Extremely popular.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you know, respect to it. I never really saw the movies or really cared for them, and I was like, "What is Isle of Berk?" I was like, they're doing a whole land.
Yeah,
and it's apparently, from what I've read, maybe the best one there.
Yeah,
it seems the most immersive from the footage I've seen, as far as like it's the most complete.
Yeah,
like it tells a story. The meet and greets are really interesting. There's stuff for everybody to do, and it seems like a really cool, full-fledged, like you really feel like you're somewhere else kind of place.
So, and JJ, unlike the traditional Disneyland and Magic Kingdom parks, you can't go from one land to the other. Right.
So it's not a full wheel. Like it doesn't wheel around. Like you can't go from Super Nintendo Land directly into the Dark Universe, even though they're right next to each other. You have to head back into Celestial Park, the main hub.
Right. Okay, and that's a land in its own right.
It's got 2 rides, a bunch of restaurants, bars. Has its own theme and lore behind it, and why these portals exist. It's all explained in a story. But yeah, so it's really cool. What they did there.
I'm fairly certain also it's the Stardust Racers is the big roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yes. It sounds incredible.
It looks incredible. It sounds incredible. Yeah. It's a dueling roller coaster, so it's a little bit of a nod back to the last time they opened a theme park with Islands of Adventure, when they opened with Dueling Dragons. So that was a nice nod to their past, and then it's just another one of these really great roller coasters that Universal's kind of been just really crushing it with Velocicoaster and Hagrid's and now this.
Yeah. Okay, well, so JJ, you start us off with your version of
Disney's Epic Disneyverse.
Yes.
That's the least clunky name I could come up with.
I like it.
Okay, the center hub when your entranceway, right? So we're gonna do the same thing with the hubs and the portals, right? My entranceway, it's gonna appear to be San Francisco. It'll have trolley cars like the main street vehicles you find in Magic Kingdom. There'll be like hippie boho chic Mickey and friends with like boutique stores, Chinese food dining, Ghirardelli returns, like Disney Springs has. That's a San Francisco thing. But then it'll have a pizza window that has the broccoli pizza that we know from the movie Inside Out. And then you'll turn a corner from this entryway, and it will reveal the Inside Out, the command center, as the weenie of it. And this is actually, the hub is Inside Out. So all of these portals are actually, they're like core memories of movies and experiences of because you're the star. This is your mind. So
really like that
there's
idea.
a show inside the weenie. It's a 4D show. Joy and all those characters are the hosts of it.
Is the show called Inside the Weenie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're gonna have to workshop that.
I didn't name any of the rides. I
don't think I did either. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it explains the whole why the land, why is this happening, and what each thing does. There's a nighttime show that corresponds to it that's very similar to like a World of Color or Harmonious, where it's like projection streams, and it kind of tells a story, the stories of our lives, and like plays on the idea of like your core memories and your emotions and emotional intelligence, like Inside Out plays on.
Yeah.
But they'll use things from all sorts of Disney properties to tell those stories. Whether that's a joyful or sad or something like that, there will be moments from your favorite Disney movies and stuff. Additionally, there will be a quote a memory train like the first movie has, and that's going to be a people mover that takes you a loop around the rim of the hub and explains what each portal is and all that, much like the people mover, but it's going to be more themed. And then one more ride in the land is a little, it's a nice little seat ticket ride. Have you guys been on Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters in California Adventure?
No.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
no, I haven't been on it, but I know of it.
So
It's like the alien swirling saucer.
No, that's Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
Oh,
is
never
Alien
mind.
So
Okay.
this is trackless, and it's almost like you just kind of like do a little dance with all the cars. It's like
not bumper cars.
it's not bumper cars. It's like the opposite of bumper
Yeah.
cars. You think you're going to crash into it, but it's like all like, almost like you're doing a dance with all these other cars.
Huh.
It's a cute ride, but I think it would be plussed up to be Inside Out themed by it being all little imaginative, all the vehicles, instead of being all one thing. They're going to be all little imaginary things that like a kid would make up, like pig with wings, or like
A unicorn.
a horse in a tuxedo, like all sorts of silly things
Yeah.
that kids like think about that you don't think like that as an adult. Kind of like Bing Bong, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be my hub.
Okay.
I love this idea of Inside Out being the hub. I was going to have this as a full land. I was considering it, but I didn't consider it as a hub, and it makes so much sense. Like the celestial like might of the hub, and brings it to the different areas, and your imagination and
Right. It's your imagination. These are your core memories. These portals are manifestations of your own design, right? So like the show kind of would explain it better and in more detail. But it would be like very similar, there'd be a lot of Cranium Command in it, a lot of Inside Out, the movies, with like, it would be fun and also explain what's going on.
yeah. I was also thinking of a little like activity that the kids could do. You've seen Inside Out too?
I did see Inside Out too.
You know when they go down into that, I think it's like the imagination area or something like that, where they're creating ideas, and there's like all these people in cubicles drawing.
Oh yeah,
right. And that would be cool. You go there, you draw, and then like your drawing pops up on the big screen, or maybe like they have like a 3D printer that prints whatever you created was, or something like that.
Oh, that's cool. That's so much better than when you started. I was thinking, oh, like that. You could just put the Animation Academy in there.
Oh,
We finally found a place for it.
Right. And we'll take it out of Rafiki's Planet Watch because no one's going there.
right.
And then people will start doing it again.
Yeah. Or Geek. Yeah. I love that
Rafiki.
idea.
Oh yeah, good.
No, I like that plus up too.
Good hub.
Because you got a wonderful imagination.
Okay, are we ready for the first land?
Yes.
First land.
Take us in.
I think there's going to be some overlap as far as this land, because I did decide that, as I've implied in previous episodes, why is Batu so locked into a physical time limit at Walt Disney World?
We were literally just talking about this in the last episode.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it is because at Disney's Epic Disneyverse, I've patented the name, is going to be Tatooine.
Tatooine. Nice.
Canonically, this will be sort of during Return of the Jedi. So I've got two rides. Both of them are e-tickets. One is a Sarlacc pit drop ride.
Oh, that's nice.
So you get kidnapped by Jabba the Hutt. You end up getting pushed over. He takes you up where you're hovering over the Sarlacc pit, and you end up getting tipped over and into it, and they drop you. Right?
Forgot that's Tatooine.
Yeah, it's Tatooine.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then Luke saves you.
Yeah.
Right? So that obviously, Drop Tower, pretty big e-ticket. Now, my next one, another thing that happens on Tatooine, pod racing. Pod racing is Tatooine culture.
Yes.
A good roller coaster.
It's a dueling roller coaster, launched roller coaster.
Nice.
With it's different types of track layouts because you're in a different pod racer. So it's like, there's one's a leg hanging one, one's like a regular roller coaster.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then
How many tracks?
I want to do 3,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we have the budget. Bob, do we have the budget?
So it would be 3 different tracks with
Yes.
3 different types of
Roller coaster.
cars.
Yes. So one would be a traditional car, and that would be like the most tame.
Mm-hmm.
Then there would be a leg hanging one, and then there's one. I don't know if you guys are aware of a wing roller coaster where you sit.
You're off the track.
You're off to the side of the
Yeah.
track. You sit on the sides, you're like on the wings.
Yeah.
So that would be the third type, and then there would be a lot of crossing and interaction between the 3, and they race. The premise is you're waiting online, like the wait online, like it's all leading up to being like, you're gonna go see a pod race. But then during the pre-show, they're demonstrating stuff, and there's like a bunch of chaos and stuff, and these 3 drivers need co-pilots to operate their vehicles, and then you have to choose which co-pilot you want to join, and that will be the type of track you choose.
So you're on. Everyone goes to the same pre-show, and then you
And then you
determine as the
split.
rider which one you want to do.
Yes, then you
Very
split
cool.
into which track you want to do.
Okay. I like that.
Rideability.
Rideability. Yeah.
Yeah.
How brave, but ultimately hopeless.
And then again, just because I'm so into this Star Wars stuff, I want a lightsaber stunt show where you
Sure.
get Luke and Vader fighting each other.
Yeah.
And I'd love it if there was some sort of technology trick like Cosmic Rewind has, where they like bleep you up into space.
Right.
Almost like Vader pulls you up onto the Death Star, and then you get to watch the fight happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're watching Luke, and he's maybe like help you join the rebel cause, or like we're a group of Force sensitive people, and he's trying to like train more Jedi to help him beat Vader or something. And then but then Vader finds him, and he jumps us all up onto his well, I guess it would be Death Star 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, folks.
Some design stuff, because it is Tatooine, that I would want to see. I definitely want to see like canyon walls with like the Jawa eyes blinking and stuff. You got to have Mos Eisley Cantina. I need a Star Wars sit down restaurant. I would love to have meet and greet with C-3PO and R2-D2.
Sure.
And then more droids. We need make it feel like a bustling town that like we kind of thought Batu would have more of.
Yeah.
Especially because none of the rides that I picked, I mean, I guess the Pod Racer ride would have enough outdoor to bring some kinetic energy to it, but it still could be, maybe a section of that might not be kinetic enough, and I would love it if there were some, droids and little things that kind of give some movement to the desert planet.
Well, you would need, and it'll be interesting to see how they would do this, because canonically they're small people. You'd need Jawas walking around.
Do you think we need Jawas walking around
maybe they're not always out, but like, at a certain times of day they walk through.
Oh, you get like a line of them.
Yeah, you get a couple Jawas. You gotta have. I mean, if it's Mos Eisley, you have stormtroopers telling people to move along. Know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, at somewhere you have to have Jabba's palace. If you're doing the Sarlacc pit, you'll have the.
You would be walking into Jabba's palace, I'd imagine, right? Like
if you're taken captive by him, you're probably in there.
For the Sarlacc pit.
Or like, if not his palace, the giant sail barge that you see him on,
right,
in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that Tatooine, because it's not focusing on Mos Eisley. It's the planet itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Tatooine has so much Star Wars history. It is the one. I feel like when people said a Star Wars land was happening, everyone expected it
to be Mos Eisley or Tatooine.
To just right.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, so I'm trying to be well-rounded, right? So I did Star Wars for the grown men. So now I need to do something for the little girls. We're gonna give Rapunzel more than just a bathroom.
Okay.
We're bringing Corona to one of these portals at Fantasy Springs, which is part of Disney Sea. They opened up a Rapunzel boat ride. Oh. It's beautiful, but it's apparently very short. I'm proposing that this is an expanded version of this boat ride. It's just a slow boat ride, basically a book report ride for the Tangled movie. But it's really beautiful. A lot of good animatronics in it. I think it would be just a slam dunk. I want this is where I put a carousel for Maximus, just a Maximus carousel. Sure. I'm trying to make this a moneymaker, so I have two different Bippity Boppity Boutique outlets. This is the first. The first one is a Bippity Boppity Boutique focused on hair braiding and hair extensions. So like you could if you're a little girl, you could go get like Rapunzel hair, right?
You'd be like tripping over it all day long.
Right, yeah.
It gets caught in the roller coasters.
Oh dear God.
Thank you for making me think about Disney's legal team during this.
You always got to protect the multi-billion-dollar, national.
Somebody please think of the multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Of course, you got to have a meet and greet with Rapunzel and Flynn. But maybe that's at the Snuggly Duckling. Maybe that's my character meet and greet restaurant, the Snuggly Duckling. Okay. But there's also a non-character meet and greet portion of it that is more of a tavern bar lounge situation. I guess Disney, they call it a lounge.
Yeah, they don't like using bar.
They don't like using bar. And then I have a little Pascal, the little chameleon.
He's got to be there somewhere.
Yeah, he's got a like a kid's playground, but like a camouflage kind of edutainment spin on it.
Nice.
Yeah, and then there are lots of Easter eggs of Pascal hidden everywhere because he's camouflage. It's a fun thing for kids to spot.
That's cool.
So that is Corona.
I didn't know that it was called Corona.
I believe that's the name of the city. Well, because the movie kind of takes place in the woods, and then you're going to the city with the Lantern Festival and stuff.
Oh, you have to have a nighttime show with the lanterns. I feel like that's.
No, the lantern's big scene on the ride. The ride.
Oh, okay.
The ride in Fantasy Springs. There's a big. There's a really beautiful scene in that where you get Flynn and Rapunzel animatronics in a like a rowboat, and the lanterns are all over them. It's a really beautiful scene. So of course the lanterns are going to be featured. You'll see them. Along Corona, you'll see all the lanterns and stuff, and they'll light up at night, but it's not going to be dedicated nighttime show. That'll be reserved for the Inside Out, core memory, nighttime spectacular.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is my second land.
Phew, boy.
Moving on. This land, I was thinking, in my heart of hearts, I know if Disney actually does this, it's going to be Springfield. It's going to be The Simpsons, but we already have Springfield at Universal, and they did a lot of the stuff I would want to do. So I figured let's do something a little different, but still honor Fox Animation. So we're going to take a little trip to Seymour's Bay, and we're going to go to Wonder Wharf, aka Bob's Burgers Land.
Love this.
Yeah. So it's Bob's Burgers, so I think we should talk about the food first, right? So Bob's Burgers is kind of like a hybrid quick service. Like you order at a counter, but then someone will bring it to you when you sit down. And that's going to be like, it has to be the best burger in Disney World.
Yeah.
And it has to have like punny names.
Stupid, silly names.
There's got to be like 6 burgers on the menu, and 4 of them are ridiculous puns. And then right next to it, of course, is going to be Jimmy Pesto's. And Jimmy Pesto's will be intentionally very mediocre.
Almost like Pizza Rizzo.
The pizza will be Pizza Rizzo, that puffy pizza.
That's so funny.
The Italian, but then it'll also be like an Italian sit down, and that's going to be like Olive Garden quality. So you're going to get the full, like, Bob is seething mad that he's struggling, and he's like, I have the best hamburger, and this guy is Olive Garden. like I want you to feel Bob and Bob's pain, that like there is something so average next to like something that is like really great.
That's so funny.
Mort's Morgue is not going to make an appearance in
probably as an Easter egg, but it's not on any of my rides and stuff. So the ride, really, I'm kind of borrowing heavily from California Adventure's Pixar Pier. So you've got the big wheel, that big Ferris wheel. That's basically a version of the Wonder Wheel at Coney Island. So it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a Wonder Wheel situation with the swinging side and the non-swinging side.
Oof, what a ride.
And then the no swinging side will be the Tina side, and the swinging side is the Louise side.
That's awesome.
To match their character profiles, because Luis is way more about chaos, and Tina is definitely, the rule follower and more straight-laced. Then the e-ticket here is going to be the Scream-a-Cane, which is the roller coaster at Wonder Wharf, the fictitious theme park that's at the end of the block that Bob's Burgers is serving.
Yeah.
Again, that's going to be reminiscent of a classic boardwalk roller coaster, much like the Incredicoaster is. I don't necessarily think it has to go upside down, but it will be like a fun, visually appealing thing to like look at this pier, like this kind of this wharf that we're creating, and have the big Ferris wheel and the big roller coaster right next to it. Very picturesque.
The Beef Squatch coaster.
Well, speaking of Beef Squatch, there is a show. It's a Gene vehicle, and it's a 4D talent show featuring all of the people, all the people in the town doing various acts. Teddy is going to kind of be the Statler and Waldorf of this experience.
This is good.
So Teddy will be basically interrupting the show unintentionally, because Teddy's kind of bumbling, and he's kind of the person that's that will talk and talk and talk, even though you want them to be quiet, and he'll know that he has to be quiet, but he won't be able to help himself.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to come from, he's not going to be mean like Statler and Waldorf might be, but it will be funny because he'll be very like his own way of like just interrupting the show. So Gene will be making this talent show. You get to see all the characters that you love performing. Linda and Linda's band. Linda's band and Mr. Fish Odor and all these people. You'll see them. You'll see Marshmallow. All the characters that all these side characters that have some performance stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
Yeah, a lot of Easter eggs, little decorations around the that they'll have a little nod, like a little maybe a dig to Jaws by having that shark.
The shark, what do they call it?
The deepening.
Yeah.
They'll have the shark from the deepening, little carnival kind of games. I would love it if there was a Mickey animatronic that like heckles you at the in the game section.
And like the restaurants have to specifically note that they don't serve lobster.
Yeah.
Because Bob hates the Lobster Festival.
No Lobster Fest. Yeah. Maybe some anti-Lobster Fest Easter eggs and stuff. Yeah. I mean,
like this. This is good.
Yeah. I figured like, what was I going to do with Springfield that people haven't already thought about or said a million times? Yeah. So I figured to try out Wonder Wharf and the Bob's Burgers universe. And I love Bob's Burgers, and I think, if in all reality, Hollywood Studios at some point is probably going to have a Fox Animation Land, and I really hope there is a Bob's Burgers and a Bob's Burgers ride in that area.
Yeah.
And it's not just Simpsons.
And it's not just Simpsons and Ice Age. Actually, Ice Age is a $1 billion franchise. So I would not be surprised if there is a lot more Ice Age than you think there is.
Oh, because that's Fox.
Yeah,
because they're not putting Family Guy in the parks. You can't.
How? Oh yeah. How would you possibly?
Yeah.
Well, let's just wait. Let's wait until my part.
Is that foreshadowing?
Or can you?
Did you make Quahog?
It's just a bunch of drugs Red Sox fans.
Boys, watch your manners.
Yeah, if you can't say something nice.
Boys.
Okay, so the last land. I feel like I've done 2 lands for adults, and I'm going to do another very family friendly land. Even though I think Bob's Burgers was more family friendly than, than some of the other adult animation cartoons. So we're going to take a magic carpet ride to Agrabah, and we're going to do an Aladdin land.
Cool.
Obviously, Palace Weenie is really great. I would love to do a magic carpet, like a suspended dark ride where you do like it's a magic carpet ride around Agrabah, and you kind of do the next generation of the Peter Pan ride vehicle, where the track's above you, so you sit in the magic carpet and it takes you around. And then the e-ticket of this is going to be a Cave of Wonders indoor roller coaster.
Cool.
Really fun. This is where I so badly was thinking that I should just do Cosmic Rewind, but Aladdin themed. But I don't think I'm going to do it with the spinning. I'll leave the spinning out of it, but it'll be a heavily themed ride. Maybe it's more like Hagrid's, where there's maybe like a drop track and some, you stop and you watch like animatronics and stuff, and then there's stuff happens, you go forwards, you go backwards, you do drops,
there's a lava wave or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you're like a big climax where you're trying to get out before the thing closes up on you. I want to do a very elaborate meet and greet like Enchanted Tales with Belle, centered around Jasmine and Raja. So I don't know if you guys know this about Epic Universe.
Real tiger.
But they have at the How to Train Your Dragon land, you can meet Toothless and the dragons there. And what they are is they're those Boston Dynamics dogs, but they're dressed up in a way that makes them look how the dragons look in the in the movie, so it looks like that animated dragon that they make. So I want to do that with Raja,
Sure.
and make like a cartoon tiger, out of those dogs. Then obviously you're gonna have like a market that's gonna be where all your shopping and your food is. It's gonna be Middle Eastern, like Persian type of food. This is the second Bippity Boppity boutique, but this one's centered around like maybe bedazzling and henna.
Okay.
Cool.
I'd love for there to be some sort of like a frozen fig slushy signature drink here. A belly dancer lounge. I want like little, like in the marketplace, like little animatronic, like snake charmer stuff.
Cool.
Like really kind of sell that, like you want it to feel like Agrabah. Like you're in there and you want it to feel like Agrabah. And that is my Epic Disney.
Nice.
I think that all sounds really great.
Yeah.
What's the budget on this whole park, you think?
On what I described, probably like $12 billion.
Well, you got a couple roller coasters.
You might not be building it all at once.
I think the Star Wars 3-track pod race. I mean, if Cosmic Rewind was $500 million, that's got to be $1 billion, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
but wasn't all of Galaxy's Edge $1 billion?
All of Galaxy's Edge was probably about a little over $1 billion or $1 billion, like 1.1. It's like building a baseball stadium.
Epic Universe in total cost $7.7 billion.
And I did more than what Epic has.
Yeah. All right. Well, you could always phase it out.
No, all at once.
Yeah, we could do the budget cuts. Bob, tell me where the budget cuts go.
Yeah.
Probably not in the Bippity Boppity boutiques.
No, probably not.
You can have those.
Oh, you mean those money printers? Yes, please.
Calm down, Rover. I was only kidding.
Okay, Sean, what's your Disney's Epic Disneyverse Disney?
Disney Worst? Is that a
Disney
big,
Worst?
Disney Worst? Is that a sausage at Disney World?
I think they serve that at the Friar's Nook.
So I am there. There's a couple of not direct overlaps, but JJ and I we're on a very similar line of thinking when we were creating our parks here. And when he said he was going to open his park in San Francisco, I got a little worried because we're going to open up my park here. And I've said it before. I don't remember what episode it was, but I've said before that I think one of the most criminally underfeatured movies in the Disney parks is Big Hero 6.
It's a great movie.
I wanted a Big Hero 6 ride, something. I think it was when we were talking about redoing Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
I was going to do a Baymax or Big Hero 6 ride. So I know this is not necessarily an original idea because I know that San Francisco already exists in essence in California Adventure. There's San Francisco Square, but the entryway and the hub to my park is going to be San Francisco. It's going to be a hybrid fusion mix of San Francisco, Tokyo. There's also some Mexican elements to San Francisco. There's going to be a Ghirardelli Square, similar to what JJ had featured. But I mean, if you're gonna do San Francisco, if you're not gonna do a Golden Gate Bridge, you gotta have Ghirardelli Square. So that's gonna have your some quick service and little shops and boutiques and little cafes and areas you can sit. And we're gonna have a tequila and sake forward cocktail bar.
Nice.
Where it's just basically. My thinking was one of those cocktail bars where you go in and you basically just tell the bartender what you want or what you like, and they make you a drink. It's going to be more high end. It's not going to be a go in, go out, grab and go kind of place. It's going to be maybe a reservation based bar. We're going to have a fusion Mexican and Japanese restaurant. That's the big sit down feature here. And stealing some of the thunder in JJ's parks. We have a Big Hero 6 suspended roller coaster.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the big ticket when you walk in, because I know that Celestial Park has the Stardust racers.
Right.
Right when you walk in, there's a big roller coaster. It's going to be a Big Hero 6 suspended roller coaster. And it's whether it's story focused or not, it's going to be, you're going to be riding with Baymax through San Francisco. It's gonna go around the square. It's not necessarily going to focus too heavily on like crazy thrills, but you're going to be going all around over the square. And
I think that would make a really good train design. Baymax is like carrying you and you're sitting in the chair.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's the hub there, San Francisco. It's not huge, but it's a little bigger than I think what California Adventure gives it. And then we move into what I'm most excited about. And again, this is where JJ and I's minds kind of overlap here. I was initially going to think about taking us to Mos Eisley. Specifically just to Mos Eisley. JJ took us to Tatooine. I was thinking of taking us just to Mos Eisley, but my thought was...
This is the Star Wars universe.
This is Star Wars, yes. Okay. Yes. Do you not know, based just on the things I'm saying?
It's for the listener.
God. Anyway. I thought that ultimately the things you would see, what is Mos Eisley? It's a spaceport. There's going to be ships. There might even be a Millennium Falcon. There's a cantina. If you just did Mos Eisley... and only Mos Eisley, it would feel a little too similar to Batuu, and it would almost feel like it's not really an original thought. Mm-hmm. So I pivoted off of Mos Eisley, and I'm taking us to the forest moon of Endor.
Yeah, that's the move.
And we're going to Ewok Village. And the thing that I really wanted to have, and I'm sure if anyone can do it, it's Disney Imagineering. When you walk around Ewok Village, which is really going to be the focus area of this, I want there to be some kind of forced perspective under you, so it kind of feels like you're up in the trees. Like, you're walking on, suspended bridges, suspended platforms. You're going from treehouse to treehouse, from area to area. Thematically, story-wise, it takes place after Return of the Jedi. So it takes place after the Battle of Endor. So there's downed walkers. There's maybe some crashed ships from the Death Star battle.
Cool.
So you've got debris kind of around, kind of like the way you see in The Force Awakens. You've got the AT walker down that she kind of lives in.
Yes.
So you see kind of stuff like that. My main e-ticket attraction here is some kind of speeder race.
Yes.
I'm thinking like Flight of Passage, Soarin' based, like instead of being on a Banshee or on a speeder bike. And I don't really know what the story is, because it's after the Empire, so we'll think of something. But I want some kind of Flight of Passage feeling speeder ride. And then my next attraction is going to be a separate not a separate ticketed attraction, but it's going to be a reservation based attraction. It's going to be an elevated ropes course. To kind of make it feel like you're swinging through the trees, like you're one of the Ewoks. It's going to be like an adventure style, adventure course.
Yeah.
That takes you through the trees and through the village. And for dining, obviously, when I think of Return of the Jedi, I think of Ewok Village. There has to be something much like a ballpark where you're eating, whether it's ice cream or nachos, you're eating out of like a baseball helmet. You have to be eating something out of like an Imperial helmet. Because at the end of Return of the Jedi, they play the drums on like the Stormtrooper helmet. So whether it's, like I said, whether it's nachos or ice cream or whatever, you get something out of like a Stormtrooper helmet or an Imperial bike trooper helmet. And then a sit-down restaurant that's like an open fire kind of idea restaurant. I'm thinking Ohana meets like Sanaa in kind of a way that comes together, where it's like, you cook the food, you can see it cooking over an open fire, and then it's served to you kind of maybe the way that all you care to enjoy. That's the way they like to say it now. But sort of an Ohana or Sanaa feel of a restaurant where it kind of feels like, you're in a forest or jungle or that kind of atmosphere. And then what I like is they take the shield generator that we helped destroy in the movie, has now been turned into a bar, and that's the shield generator bar. As we go in, and that's your walk up kind of quick service drinks and cocktails to go.
That's cool.
I like this.
Yeah.
And so that's and then I have every night there is much like the end of Return of the Jedi. There's a fireworks and a celebration and every night. The big night show is in Ewok Village, and they play the music and they do the fireworks, and that's every night at whatever 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I like that it's Star Wars, but in a completely different environment than anything we've seen yet. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And again,
in the trees, that's such a good idea. I was always figuring on the ground,
and you'd be like looking through the stuff and you'd be like, I mean, the Speed Racer ride is such a home run for this. It's like, of course you're going to be in the Speed Racer.
Yeah.
Could you mix it with like you do actually move as well and screen? It's like almost like you're like Flight of Passage, where you have this huge screen in front of you, but you also move.
Vehicle itself pivots; it moves a little bit,
or it's like actually like a little bit of a roller coaster. It is like it
so
moves.
it's a roller coaster, but instead of being like open air, you're going through.
Yeah,
is that not essentially kind of what Cosmic Rewind kind of is?
Cosmic Rewind does have a bunch of screens.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster,
but it doesn't stop and show you, like, almost like if you could combine Cosmic Rewind and Remy, where you like stop in a scene and it does. Yeah. You do like a simulator and then you move through a show scene.
Yeah.
Or have you ever been on in Universal the Fast and Furious? It's like it's a terrible ride.
It's a bad ride.
It's a really bad ride. But one of the things is that you're completely surrounded by screen and you are moving.
Okay.
And so it makes it feel like you're moving faster than you actually are because of this.
Screen.
Right.
Okay.
You're moving slowly, but because the screen's doing stuff.
Okay.
They kind of do the same thing with the Mario Kart thing with the AR. Like, you're moving slow in the Mario Kart ride.
Oh, in Epic Universe.
In Epic Universe, but they have a bunch of AR that makes you supposed to simulate being faster.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
Well, great land.
I like that land.
Yeah.
I mean, more Star Wars lands, Bob, before you head off into the sunset, give us one more Star Wars land.
Yeah. and fix the one that we already have.
It doesn't need much fixing. It just needs a little. It needs a people mover.
It needs
ride.
a little more. Yeah,
and
it needs a little more.
It needs sit down restaurant. Yes, and it needs things happening and moving in.
Yeah. Give us a droid transporter people mover.
Yeah,
that takes us around the land. There's a movement, and give us the sit down restaurant that we definitely should have had.
Yeah,
so that Oga's Cantina isn't a dining reservation.
Right. Yeah. Right. So the next land that I wanted to go to, I was back and forth between two. It's in the same IP and cinematic universe, but I was thinking about how relatively new in terms of what's new at Disney, how relatively new the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is at Epcot. And I was gonna think about taking us to Xandar, but I didn't want to feel too close to something that kind of was already put in place in Epcot, so we're going to go to Asgard.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
before destruction.
During
Asgard while it's happening, actually. So Asgard takes place thematically and story wise. It's going to take place between some of the early films. Like everything is still going to be like good there.
Yeah.
The e-ticket ride is going to be it's going to have to do with Heimdall and the Bifrost. It's going to be like a dark ride where you have to help Thor on some not Avengers related quest. It's something totally separate and new, and you're jumping through the Bifrost to and from different places with Heimdall and with Thor. And then the other I guess B or C ticket attraction, I had an idea of, because you have to incorporate Loki in some point.
Yeah.
So God of Mischief, it's going to be Loki he's escaped. You have to catch him, and he's going to make his way. I'm thinking like Marvel meets in a way Filler Magic. Loki is going to make his way through a bunch of old like classic Disney movies.
That's cool.
That's so funny.
And he's going to like cause trouble in each one of them, maybe he's going to change how some things happen, some things work out, and you're going to go through the way we follow Donald through Fill Our Magic.
Yeah.
We're going to follow Loki through like 5 or 6 old Disney movies, whether they're animated or live action. We take the 90s Disney movies, and eventually you capture them and everything's good. But he goes through each movie and kind of causes a little bit of mischief and mayhem through the movies. And for a sit-down restaurant, I'm thinking an Asgardian banquet hall restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm thinking beer garden on a massive scale.
Cool.
A lot of the same kind of like food. Like you're getting turkey legs and lots of meat and beer.
Medieval times kind of
exactly,
vibes, right? Yeah.
And then a bar where you exclusively get served beer out of Viking horns.
Yep.
Cool.
That's the bar in Asgard, and the theming is of course like grand, celestial,
Norse gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Asgard. And
so
now,
Sean's park costs more than everybody else's because he's securing the Marvel Cinematic Universe rights for theme parks.
Well, and yeah, I guess everything. There was no time date of like when it was created, right?
What, that deal?
That deal, like I said,
No, it's
anything created
in
after-
perpetuity.
It's in perpetuity.
It's
yeah.
until maybe the language is until they stop using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the most expensive park. I'm gonna go build another.
just for legal reasons.
I'm gonna go build another roller coaster in mine.
So my second to last land, and we've had conversations about this one kind of off air. I have very little elaboration on this land. I would urge the listeners, if you're interested in this IP, if you're interested in this topic, I would love to hear how you would do this, because I know absolutely nothing about this franchise, this universe, but I know that there's a segment of fans that love Disney, love video games, and love that crossover, that a Kingdom Hearts themed land would absolutely do blockbusters in a Disney park. I know that there's people that are clamoring for something. People love those games, and they're dying to have some kind of representation for that in the park. So I have a whole area, a whole plot of land ready to develop in my park for Kingdom Hearts, and I just don't know enough about it to want to pretend and phone it in and make something. So we're going to do Kingdom Hearts land, and that's probably not even a good name for it, but it's going to be something Kingdom Hearts related in my park. And please help me build it. Give me ideas, because I think it's a franchise that needs representation, and I think there's enough people that would come out specifically for Kingdom Hearts themed land in a park.
I mean, I feel like that's a very cool. Maybe it's a really cool multiversal ride, right? Because like Kingdom Hearts is like you're being transported. I thought about this as a hub for a while, but I don't know enough about it to flesh out the idea.
Right.
It is very multiversal in nature because it's like you're playing a character, and 1 minute you're in Agrabah and you're in the Aladdin universe, and then you're hanging out with Goofy in a different place, and then you're going to Tangled Land, and you're going, like, all of these universes exist in Kingdom Hearts. Every Disney property has like its own Earth, so it would be definitely a really cool like dark ride with jumping through these different universes. Also, that could be a hub. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool,
Yeah.
really big, and I don't know enough about it.
Exactly.
I love the idea of it as a hub, and
Like jumping around,
Yeah.
because it'd be like you're in the game and you're
Right.
jumping into this land and that land, but I like all the ideas.
Yeah.
Let's just do all of them.
All of
That's going to be our park. We're gonna do all the ideas.
can you imagine just a park with all of these in one? That would be a huge. That would be like the entire Disney World.
A $25 billion.
Yeah.
And I'm not even done.
Oh yeah, you still have one more.
I still have one more land.
Yeah.
One more land. And it's something that this was actually before Star Wars, before Asgard. This was the thing that I thought of first. And it's something we've talked about on the podcast. We've talked about how we would love them to expand Epcot, put new countries in the World Showcase, and what would we want to see. So we're gonna in this Epic Disney Epic verse, we're gonna leave Epcot alone. We're gonna leave the World Showcase alone, and my final land is gonna be, the working title is New World Showcase. We'll think
New
of,
World
we'll
Order.
Think of something. we'll think of something a little better.
We'll workshop it.
But it's five brand new countries. It's Spain, Greece, Egypt, Ireland, and Thailand.
Oh, I like that combination.
All centered around Heritage Lake. So it's centered around a body of water, kind of like the World Showcase is. And this is just all dining and shopping and, drink experiences. We've talked about, I'm stealing ideas from previous episodes. The Greece country will have a Hercules-based attraction. The Egypt pavilion, I'm thinking either a Nile River boat slow ride, thinking about Avatar and the Pandora River ride, or an all-out throw ride where you have to escape a pyramid or something.
Yeah,
like a mummy-focused ride.
Mummy curse.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if we can use the actual mummy movie IP.
Well, that is Universal.
Yeah. So
there is a ride in Universal that is a mummy, the mummy curse.
Yeah.
But I think the concept of mummies cursing things is gotta be public domain.
Sure.
Right? Like the concept of a mummy. Also, with the Fox thing, I think we have access to the Prince of Egypt movie.
Oh, okay.
IP Defender.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What a callback. But yeah, so this, there's a couple new rides, but this is mostly a place to shop, eat, drink, relax, and there's gonna be staggered nighttime entertainment, the big Ewok firework, Return of the Jedi firework show, but about 45 minutes earlier in the night, there's gonna be just like a light and water show on the lake in New World Showcase.
Nice.
A World of Color-esque kind of
that's
thing.
kind of what I was thinking.
You got the lake, you might as well use it.
You need somewhere to walk around and drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and this is it.
All the best parks have that.
And then eventually, we're gonna think of a way to do drinking around the world between both. You got to do them all in one day. Oh my God!
You have a Skyliner and you need a park hopper.
You got to do them all in one
Skyliner.
day. 11 and 5. That's 16 countries.
What about a Skyliner from one World Showcase to the other World Showcase, and just like Harry Potter ride? You
take the train. You have the Hogwarts Express.
Yes, right. And you need a park ticket in order to get on that train.
A dedicated Skyliner to take you from one World Showcase to the other. Now that's an idea.
That within the park, you go from inside the park to inside the other.
Imagine how many people are going to get sick and throw up out of that Skyliner car.
That would be really cool.
God, throwing up outside the window of a Skyliner. Oh God. Yeah. Will someone think of Disney's attorneys, please?
Well, that would mean that my Epic Disney Epic would have to be close enough, because Epic Universe is not that close to Universal. There's
a lot of property in Disney World.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Skyliner's cheap enough.
Sure. Now, is that an added cost to? It's expanding the Skyliner and an added cost to my already very expensive park.
Your park is certainly the most expensive park.
Most expensive by far. It's going to come with a hefty bill to Universal Studios.
But yeah, so we have New World Showcase, Asgard, Kingdom Hearts Land, San Francisco main hub, and the Forest Moon of Endor, Ewok Village as my Epic Disneyverse.
That is cool.
I'd go opening day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might even pay for it.
I might even pay.
Yeah, we won't even use media credentials.
That just leaves one more.
To be honest, of course, this is me. As you were talking about Asgard, I just completely switched one of my lands.
Oh yeah,
because it just got me thinking. I didn't like my hub, and I wanted to change my hub. So I'm changing my hub. My hub was going to be the Burbank Studios, the Disney Animation Studios, right?
Okay.
Because I figured all these ideas came from the Disney Animation Studios, whether it's to acquire or you know what I mean. It's like that building with the dwarfs,
the seven
dwarfs holding up the roof, like is iconic, right? So I thought that could be the centerpiece, but I actually want to get rid of that.
Scrap.
It all started with a mouse. Scrap that.
And I'm doing the TVA from Loki.
Oh,
Okay. I do like that.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna do Doctor Strange and was gonna be like less into that.
Once you said Loki in your ride, Sean, I was like, oh, the Loki like TV series, the TVA, right? And then you have like Miss Minutes is gonna be your host when you walk in, and she's gonna pop up all over the place, like you know, telling you things, and then it makes sense of why you're going into all these different lands, because in the TVA there's an infinite number of possibilities and universes, right?
And timelines, like you're jumping timelines, you're jumping universes,
right.
Yeah.
So now give me a little, slack here. I haven't. This is not completely fleshed out because I haven't had too much time on this. But my ride will be a Disney What If ride. It'll be a dark ride.
That's cool.
That takes you through scenes of projects Disney never made.
Oh,
no, that's cool.
I was thinking something different. I was thinking
the show What If,
like the show What If, where it asks questions of what if things went in a different direction for the Marvel stuff that you love.
But since Disney usually ends with happily ever after, it would be very sad.
I know you like dark and scary.
people are crying when they come off this ride.
Some things I was thinking about that could be on there would be Beastly Kingdom. You see a scene from what Beastly Kingdom would have been, right? Mm-hmm. Walt's actual Epcot.
Ooh.
The Roger Rabbit ride from Hollywood Studios, or the land, Roger Rabbit Land. That's actually the only 3 that I could come up with right away. The Rhine River Cruise, maybe. The Rhine River Cruise.
The Muppet Great Movie Ride.
Oh, the Muppet Great Movie Ride. That would be perfect, too. Yes. So this would be kind of Great Movie Ride-esque in the fact that you're moving slowly, and I would love a live actor to kind of explain the history of and why it you'll just hear over and over again, oh, well, the oil embargo. Well, the 1970s oil embargo.
You need historical context.
Yes.
Every good theme park needs historical context.
So where you eat, I mean, the only thing I could think of was the lounge or the
cafeteria,
the TVA. But that would be terrible. But actually, if you can go anywhere at any point in time, it could just be like walking through a doorway is walking through a portal. So it could be any restaurant at any universe in any point in time, right? So they could really draw a lot from that.
Yeah,
So-
you could open a door and be at like
a Buffalo Wild Wings.
they use it to all these corporate tie-ins. You open your door and you're at the first McDonald's.
Actually, that would be pretty cool. Actually, the first McDonald's, and
the hamburgers aren't going to be 49 cents. I'll tell you
no. And people won't be on rollerblades either. So.
Sonic still does that. I went to Sonic the other day, and they came out. It was like kind of raining. This girl was on rollerblades.
Really?
What are we doing?
Wow.
Like,
will someone not think of Sonic's corporate lawyers?
This could go on a shirt. Will someone please think
of the corporation?
Think of the corporation. Okay, so that's going to be my hub, and it provides a reason for why you're going into all these different areas. So I'm going to start with my main area, because I'm pretty lopsided. My two lands, my 2 big lands, are going to be on one side, and that's going to take up everything, right? The other side, I'm going to have 2 smaller lands that can then you could have expansion after that.
Okay.
So my first land is going to be Storybook Land, and this is going to be a realm of different princesses, a mix between classic, Renaissance, and new princesses. So what it's going to be is you're gonna walk into this land, and at first it'll be just kind of like a very small little village, and there'll be a show there, maybe an outdoor show, kind of explaining. It'll be like a storyteller guy who's like the keeper of the stories. And when you continue deeper into the land, you're walking. It'll be kind of like almost like I picture a pop-up book. So it's like you're walking like through a book, through the pages into Snow White's enchanted forest, and then you have Snow White's castle. I don't think it's her castle, actually. She doesn't have like ownership of the castle.
Oh, well, the Queen's castle.
The Queen's castle, right? Yeah. Right. And you won't be able to see anything else from within there, right? And if you keep on walking a little further through a little meandering woods, you'll get to Belle's village of the Enchanted Rose, right? Something like that, where you have...
Okay, so how many princesses are featured?
Just 3, but there's going to be room for expansion. So our featured ones are Snow White, Belle, and Rapunzel.
Ooh, justice for Corona and Rapunzel.
Yes, yes.
She's more than just bathrooms.
So this is kind of like JJ's idea with Rapunzel. You got to have the Snuggly Duckling, right? Hideaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You got to have that restaurant, that bar. But it's going to be on a smaller scale. And the whole point of this is like I felt like these were areas that couldn't demand, a whole huge land, but also was more than a bathroom. Okay. Or in Belle's situation, more than just a restaurant,
Right, more than a quick service restaurant and a full service restaurant and a meet and greet.
Right.
Something that's a ride.
Yeah.
So are you pulling all the Tokyo stuff ride wise?
So I'm not as versed on the Tokyo rides, but I have seen that scene of like the lanterns going up for Rapunzel's.
But there's also a trackless dark ride for Beauty and the Beast at Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh yeah, I'll take that. Let's take that. No, that's right. That's
it's amazing.
Yeah, that's when the Beast
Beast transformation thing. You've seen that. People have stumbled upon that video and been like, "Is that real?" And it is.
Right. Yeah. So I'll take all of that. That's great, actually. I love that.
Yeah.
That's better than my e-ticket. Just stealing those e-tickets.
Right. Just borrow.
And listen, it's on the cheap.
Disney World is so often that.
Yeah.
Well, that's progress for you.
So one of my one thing I wanted to do here in the beginning of this land, before you get into the princesses areas, was to have a show. And I mentioned this before about the show of the story keeper who's going to tell you what's going on. But this would be a actual theater show. That would be similar to the Carousel of Progress, where the theater moves, but the stage stays still, and you would have a host that would be an animatronic host in every theater. It would be a different godmother that would be walking you through the stories of these princesses.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's actually John Progress still in
John Progress in various hats.
And I thought that would be kind of cool because then you can keep on going back on it, and depending on which theater you'll get a different godmother to bring you through the story. So
okay. So you're entering in different kind of the way Carousel of Progress goes. When it moves its first rotation, a new audience comes in.
Yes.
So each room of the rotation is a different. They're telling the same story, but it's from a different person.
Yes.
So depending when you go in, it could be one story, one godmother or another. You almost don't know.
I think they have to be telling the same story because it's all the same stage.
Oh, so you're coming in just at a different time.
You're coming in just in a different theater. There might be like 5 or 6 theaters that are constantly rotating around the stage, and then in the stage tells a different portion of the story.
Okay.
But it's the theaters that would have the godmother, and like it would just be a different godmother telling you about it. So maybe it wouldn't be that. I mean, it would be really cool if, depending on what theater you got a completely different story. That would be awesome, but I think that would have to be with screens. I don't know if you could do that with animatronics or live actors.
But they could each be telling the same story, just a little differently.
Yeah. Yes. They would have a different spiel.
Yeah.
The godmothers would have a different
Yeah.
spiel. And I think that kids would you would start to really I like that godmother, right? So you wanted to have that theater. You know what I mean? So you wait for that theater type of thing. So I thought that would be there. Gaston would have a tavern. He's got to have a tavern. Now,
But a real tavern and not just
tavern.
a place to buy a creme brulee croissant.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you get into a bar fight
He'll use antlers in all of his decorating.
and eat raw eggs.
This is just going to be the kid focused, probably primarily girl focused area. I think Rapunzel could be a lot of guy focused too. There's Ryder, people like Ryder, and he's good too. My number 2 is family friendly, but one of those lands that is like kids really enjoy, but adults love. Right? So this is going to be Element City from the movie Element.
Oh, Elemental.
Elemental. Sorry. Yeah, Elemental. And I think Elemental was a great movie that came out at the wrong time.
A lot that run of Pixar
Like
movies.
the COVID movies.
The COVID movies are all great.
Yes.
Onward, Luca, Soul, and Elemental are all so good, but they didn't get the same love that other Pixar movies have gotten.
Yeah. This city is going to have so much kinetic and movement in it. I want it to be like a legitimate looking like it's a clear city. Like one thing that Walt Disney wanted in Tomorrowland was to have movement on 3 different levels, right? He wanted movement in the air, movement on land, movement underneath, with the sea, the 20,000 leagues under the sea, right? So I want that same thing, but it's going to be with the people of the city of Elemental, right? So you're going to have the the fire people that are going to be like regularly walking around, especially with the earthy moss people. But then you're going to have the water people, and the water people, I have this pictured in my mind. I don't know how Disney could do it. If anyone could do it, it'd be them. But you have a fountain that's against a building, and out of the fountain comes a water person, right? So maybe like they make with, I don't know, somehow they make it look like something just came out of the fountain, and then an animatronic
appears on the ground.
It comes up from the fountain, right? And then walks almost looking like they're walking into the building, and there'll be like a screen on the facade of the building, so they just keep on walking through. So almost like that's their transportation system.
My gut says Pepper's Ghosts and maybe a bubble.
A bubble. Yeah, okay.
But, that sounds fun.
That's
It sounds like a fun
Sounds
challenge.
like a challenge. Yeah.
Sounds like a really fun challenge. And the answer is always Pepper's Ghosts, right?
Yeah. Yes. You have the cloud people that are going, moving on top, and that'll be obviously just done by effect. The dining here, I'm thinking of a rooftop, like a rooftop bistro where the cloud people are like serving you and everything, and it'll come like on on strings, like the clouds will be sliding on the strings, delivering your food somehow.
Oh, that's
something
cool.
like that.
Like
yeah.
a little on wire stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like almost like those like rotating sushi restaurants where the food is
like that.
your meals are just coming around to you.
Or maybe it's just a practical effect, and it's like you have a waiter, and you think that everyone else's waiter is a cloud person, but really no one's waiter is a cloud person. They're just moving around up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be something like that, but that'll be like on a rooftop, and that you'll be able to look out and see the city.
Of course, there has to be a view.
Element City. It has to be a good view.
Aerial view, you need it.
He just brings Geyser Point into Element City.
My e-ticket is going to be what I think the e-ticket of the whole place is going to be.
Ooh.
Every good ride is an actual form of transportation, right? So this is going to be transportation, but it won't actually bring you anywhere. It'll bring you to the start and finish, right? But it's going to be that you're on the transportation for the city, right? And it's going to be a multi-launch roller coaster. And every time that you relaunch, it's like you're leaving the station, right? So you'll be going through the city on this public transportation, and there's going to be things happening all over you as you go through the fire part of the city. It'll be hot. You'll see like fire going on and steam, and then when you go into the water one, maybe you go down underneath into like a mini aquarium, so it looks like you're surrounded by water. But every time you stop, something happens at the stop, right? And then like it could be a gag, it could be something funny, and then all of a sudden, boom, rock and roller coaster, another launch.
Cool.
Right?
It's like Hagrid's.
Yes.
Where you stop, there's a show scene, but then every time is a fast launch because of the movie. That's how like the train was
the night bus
moved so fast.
Yes.
Like it was kind of bullet train-ish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. The movie for Elemental. The movie Elemental.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
the trains
okay.
are just like constantly like fast trains.
Gotcha.
I want to have a show here where it'll be where the water portion of the city and the fire portion of the city meet. It'll be like a theater where where they play with like fire and water and steam, and it'll be like a water show with fire mixed in.
Oh,
A pyrotechnic water show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It creates like steam and everything like that. There's going to be also a trackless water ride too. So that really fast one, my e-ticket, I don't have a name for it, but that e-ticket one is going to be height requirement, right? So what is everyone else going to do during that time that can't go on that? This is going to be like the Navi River journey to Flight of Passage. And it will go through the areas of the city. And I'm thinking it's kind of like a hop on, hop off bus, right? Like a tourist, like, this is this part of the city. This is this part of the city, right? Yeah. So,
okay.
But you don't get on and off, but it's like a tourist thing.
Well, like the People Mover tells you about what each thing is.
Yes.
Right? It's like the People Mover.
But
You're in a boat.
You're on a boat.
You're in a boat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Wow.
Okay. That's going to be my area that I love, and I really want, like, I have pictured, like, you have fire everywhere in different areas, like randomly, and water going everywhere. It's just so much movement and elements here.
Yeah, and you want it to look like you stepped into the movie.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that a lot. I want to try the dumplings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
The fire dumplings.
The fire
people had the dumplings.
Well, there's going to be different parts of the city.
And what's nice is that obviously, like, there's some parallels with cultures, right? Like, each thing was a different culture, right? So
Right.
So that each different type of person may have maybe a signature dish or a signature drink.
Right. Or a cuisine that we can kind of recognize, but yet it's different.
But right, I like that a lot. I think that's really cool and a really nice way to implement the movie that is truly excellent.
Yeah.
So I really like that idea.
I think it deserves a second movie at number 2. Would be
Yeah, or some sort of second chance for people to go back to it, because every movie that came out between 2020 and 2022 really just didn't get the real chance to like have its day in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my 2 family-oriented rides or sections, right? The princesses for the much younger Fantasyland type, the elemental city that everyone really can enjoy. Then we get to the other side of the park, and this is like the adult side of the park.
Okay.
Are we checking IDs? Like
no, we're not
Pleasure
checking
Island
IDs.
situation.
No, not checking IDs. But and they're smaller. They're smaller so we can have other areas for expansion. But my next land is going to be for the Alien franchise.
Oh, cool.
So we're going scary here,
Okay.
suspenseful, scary. It's going to be one giant box, right? Everything is indoor, and so when you go into the land, it's completely covered land. When you go in, you're on a ship that's hovering above the Wayland colonies from the movies of Alien, and one of the rides is going to be to go down to the colonies, and it'll be like a shooter ride. Probably
nice.
use AR, but you're supposed to go and help them clear out all the aliens and decontaminate the colony because it's been like taken over, right? The other ride is going to be that the space station that you're on has gotten contaminated and you need to get out, right? I don't know how this works with the story because then when you get off the ride, you're still on the space station. But either way, it's
We'll
not
figure
perfect.
it out.
We'll figure it out. But it's gonna be a roller coaster where you launch out of, but you're still being chased, or you're trying to get off the ship and you're being chased by the aliens from Alien.
Ooh,
What
those
they
are
called?
scary.
Xenomorphs.
Xenomorphs.
Yeah.
He's bringing back Alien Encounter.
Well, and great movie ride, right? With the xenomorph
That
area.
xenomorph scene in the Great Movie Ride is probably one of the scariest things of my childhood.
Yeah.
I wonder how slow that thing actually moved.
To remember it not really in child brain. Even though I wrote it plenty of times as an adult, I don't really remember it too well.
I remember it not being as scary as an adult.
Maybe you're not trying to leave the ship, but like the ship lost power or something like that, and you're going through. You're like, I don't know, but I want it to be a roller coaster though. I didn't have enough roller coasters. I wanted it to be a roller coaster.
I like it.
Scary.
You're fleeing the alien, and then you eventually you're fleeing the alien. Maybe the alien gets defeated during the ride.
Yeah,
and then
then
you're safe to be
safe on the ship.
Safe on the ship. Yeah. But the ship.
Sigourney Weaver kills the aliens.
The ship, though, one thing I think would be cool is if like there's always this like ominous feeling, like there'll be like smoke coming out of the rafters or the vents. You know what I mean? And it's like
little noises,
like a projection of something moving.
Right.
Yeah,
you just know that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And the whole time. So that'd be cool.
Okay.
The dining, I want it as a like 80s style retro futuristic dining hall, but like with food, food kind of like almost like you with food.
With food, yeah.
Yeah. I want this dining to have
a restaurant with food. This is a bold choice.
kind of like you've gone off of like you're not suspended and you're not suspending reality anymore. Like it's just a pretty cool 80s futuristic establishment. So
Okay.
yeah, because Alien came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
All right, my next land, final land. We're calling Fox Animation Courtyard. So this is going to be very similar to JJ's Land with Bob's Burgers, but it mixes in The Simpsons. It mixes in Family Guy. It's going to have its e-ticket attraction is going to be a dark ride simulator. Motion simulator that will move you around, so kind of like Dinosaur, right? A bit, but you're moving on a track and you're moving through.
So it's so it is more like Dinosaur. I was gonna say, I'm like, well, the Simpsons ride in Universal is a
simulator,
but it's a pure simulator.
It's a pure
You're just
simulator.
watching a screen.
No, this you got to move. You're gonna move.
Okay.
Yeah. So the idea here is that you're going between all of the
the properties?
all of the properties.
The FCU, the Fox Cinematic,
Right.
Is,
FCCU, the Fox Cartoon Cinematic Universe.
Is King of the Hill part of this FCCU?
I guess it technically is. I mean, it was on Fox, and right?
Yeah, they got it now. They own it.
That would be cool to bring in at the end of just like
Bobby Hill is in there at the end of the ride.
He's like the little like he's the Statler and Waldorf of the ride, where he's like making a comment about how silly that all was.
And so Stewie's going to build a device that's bringing you through the multiverses, and it's like mayhem. It's like crazy.
Okay.
Everything like that.
Nice.
So that's one ride, and then there's going to be a family coaster there, set to Bob's Burgers, and so that's going to kind of be like a Slinky Dog or something like that, or maybe a little bit more than Slinky Dog. But this is like your mild roller coaster,
Right. It's a family friendly roller coaster. Okay.
right? I also wanted a show that's similar to Turtle Talk, but it's Quahog Live. Like it's
Okay.
it's the characters of Family Guy that are like talking to you, and like you know how they go out like in and out of those ridiculous situations, right? Like that will happen, and then they could probably use AI to like generate just like something on the screen of like a situation, but this is going to be like Turtle Talk where it's an actual person that's like selecting these things.
They have to be
talk
really,
to
they
you
have to be
about.
good at the voices too.
Well, they use I think a voice generator.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
use a voice changer because
Yeah.
Turtle Talk with Crush, it sounds like Crush. It's not and it's not a guy doing an impression. I think
Right.
they talk into something and it translates it into
Comes out as Crush.
out as Crush's voice, which is really cool technology.
It is. Dangerous.
I like that.
technology, actually.
Well, isn't that I guess what they do? I don't know if they do it anymore, but the Mr. Potato Head in the queue for Midway Mania. They didn't used to like actually interact with the people. It wasn't just pre-programmed things.
Right,
it was
right.
someone was interacting with you while you kind of passed by, like they made fun of your hat or made fun of something you were wearing.
The California Adventure one does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of then.
I'm gonna have Bob's Burgers, the restaurant, right?
Of course.
The real restaurant, and then Moe's Tavern, obviously.
Yeah, you can't do Fox Animation and not have Moe's.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's probably a better sell than the Drunken Clam.
Yeah. And that's my that's my Disney Epic Disneyverse.
I like it.
I like
it.
that.
There's all good ideas.
I like
Lots of
that
good
a lot.
ideas.
Yeah, these are great ideas. And honestly, that Fox Animation thing is so prime to happen at Hollywood Studios.
Is it just going to disappear from Universal? Is Springfield going to go away?
Supposedly that contract runs out, and I don't think Universal's interested in keeping it.
Yeah.
I've heard they've had a lot of success with video game lands, and they're going to put a video game land in each of their Florida parks, a different video game property.
Yeah. You need Hyrule, you need Zelda.
The rumors are Zelda in Islands of Adventure and Pokemon in Springfield.
That'd be great.
It'd be unbelievable. But
whoever gets
Pokemon, because Pokemon actually is its own contract. It's not just Nintendo. The Pokemon company is actually kind of a separate company from Nintendo. So someone could, in theory, swoop in and grab Pokemon, but it doesn't seem likely.
It would need to be done, though, like so well. I don't know. Like, it can't just be that you're in a land that just remotely looks like it. Like, you need to actually have Pokemon going around that you could catch.
Oh, yeah.
You can catch and fight them.
There have to be like AR elements of like almost like how you had like the Where's Perry or the Kim Possible thing in Epcot for the kids, like something where it's like a whole separate thing where you're going around
like a Pokedex,
you have a Pokeball, Pokedex, something,
yeah.
and things would appear. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I mean, it could be more like Pokemon Snap, where they made a rule that like, oh, these Pokemon are endangered species and you can't catch them or something like that. Or the Pokemon.
I think a
Pokemon
Snap ride would rule.
Yeah.
And that would be like an evolution of the video game ride where you get cameras and you take pictures.
Right.
And then you get scores based off of how much and how many Pokemon are in the frame.
But imagine though if like you're just walking around and a Pokemon just shows up on like on the side of a wall, and then you have to quickly snap it, and
that would be cool if it was a fully immersive interactive experience too. Yeah. It's really cool. Pokemon would be such a cool ride.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that could. I mean, I'm sure there's enough Pokemon to do a million things with it, but I don't think Pokemon is something that necessarily needs its own dedicated, like an actual park, but just a good land.
A land.
Somewhere.
It's land worthy
Yeah.
for sure. It's not like
Yeah.
you couldn't just do. Okay, we put a Pokemon ride over here, and now we're done. Like,
Right.
It needs a full land.
Yeah.
You need a Kanto.
Yeah,
You need a Kanto at one of these parks.
for sure.
Now you're talking. That's the best idea you've had all day.
All right.
All good ideas.
Yeah, I think we crushed it.
Yeah, I wonder if we took a little bit of all of ours and put it together.
All of the powers, one ring to rule them all. No one bought Lord of the Rings.
I don't think you could really. I mean, maybe you could do The Hobbit.
I
but
think there's what number one? What is that? That's
Middle Earth.
no. What is that? Fox?
It's Warner,
It's Warner. Okay.
so it's up for grabs.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't even consider it, but just because it's such a grand. I wouldn't even know
Yeah.
what to do. Like, would I make the Shire? I would
That's what
just,
I'm
I make the Shire, or I'd make like the Bree where they go to the
Sauron?
prancing pony. It would be a little town.
I think a Sauron.
You would just make
ride would be
Isengard.
kind of cool.
It would be, but those are supposed to be like hundreds of leagues apart, right? Like those are supposed to be so
Yeah,
far
you're not supposed
away.
to. You're not supposed to get from the Shire to Isengard in like a 2.5 minute walk.
Yeah.
We've got
What is
longer
this? The
legs.
6th season of Game of Thrones where they get from King's Landing to Winterfell in like just 2 days.
Game of Thrones. No one wanted that.
No, no one would go.
It happens after Bran is king. Can you imagine? I'm doing a Game of Thrones land, but it's actually it takes place after the TV show ends. So Bran is king, and
King's Landing is just demolished and devastated.
yeah, and Jon Snow went over the wall again.
Yeah, there is
and
no
he's-
more wall left.
All the things you liked about the show are not here.
Rave reviews.
So
How do you want to cap off this 50th episode?
well, I do have a game plan. If you guys think we have time.
A 50th episode change of the Game Master. Look at that.
Interesting.
Look at that.
And I feel like I'm the one that's supposed to say no, where this episode's way too long already.
Well, this being our 50th episode, I think it would be proper to really thank you guys, the listeners that are currently listening. We made a joke that it started out as just our family and friends, but it has really grown. I guess that's not a joke. It actually did just start out as family and friends, but it has grown into a little bit of people listening.
It's been really fun talking to some new people, really diving way deeper into the parks than I thought I would be diving into it, learning a lot for some of our history episodes.
Yeah.
It's just been a really fun time so far, and I'm looking forward to the next 50. I'm looking forward to more. It's going to be great.
We kind of started it not really knowing what it was going to be.
Or how long we were going to want to do this, or if anyone would really listen, or if we would had the time to edit these episodes, or how often we're going to be able to put these out.
Thank you, JJ.
I was gonna say he says we edit. We take zero credit for any of that.
Really, actually, that's we thanked listeners, but we really JJ. Thank you, JJ. Because let's be fair here. Sean and I put in maybe it's hops.
I mean,
a half hour to an hour.
do more than I do. You set up the episodes and make the Instagram posts, and
Still, this is nothing compared to the
Yes.
hours. Of
I do
time.
spend several hours editing
Yeah.
episodes sometimes, yes.
Usually, to the detriment of his marriage.
My relationships and
work.
my sleep.
hopefully his marriage lasts another 50 episodes.
Not my work.
Yeah.
My work is okay. My work is above average.
Just in case Boss Man's listening.
He is a DVC member.
Ooh.
All right. Well, Sean, do you want to take us out for the 50th time?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to the 50th episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any questions, comments, concerns, future nicknames, titles, or topic ideas, email us at reedygeeks@gmail.com and check us out on all our socials at ReedyGeeks. We'll see you next time.
I can't believe you don't shut up.
This week's Honest Send-Off comes courtesy of Apu from Springfield. If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, reedygeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
Bon voyage.